What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. Twas the night before Christmas. Nothing stirred but a mouse. Oh, no, it did not. Manchester United was stirring indeed. Breaking news in the last couple of minutes. Sir Jim Ratcliffe / INEOS have announced their 25% investment acquisition of Manchester United. As you can tell, we are mishmashing this together. As Lil Yo-Yo says, live from the Fleckmobile. Certainly. You know what it is? It's Christmas Eve. We're doing what we can. We're bringing you the news. Let's get into the quotes and then we'll go to Flex because he's probably got like 10 minutes of sort of arm strength.
This is, you lot know, yeah, this is Flecknology at its extreme limit to do this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know how long it's going to work.
But let's get straight into this. So, Manchester United, it must be stressed actually as well. It had been sort of reported earlier on this evening by Mark Kleiman from Sky News, was the first person to report it, saying that this announcement was coming today. Manchester United have indeed done this announcement in the last couple of minutes, saying Manchester United PLC reaches agreement for Sir Jim Ratcliffe, chairman of INEOS, to acquire up to 25% shareholding in the company. And they've got some bullet points here saying acquisition of 25% of the Class B shares held by the Glazer family, offered to acquire up to 25% of all Class A shares. The Glazer family and Class A shareholders will receive the same price of $33 per share. Further investments are $300 million in the club. INEOS delegated responsibility for management of football operations. Completion of this deal is subject to receiving all necessary regulatory approvals, including from the Premier League. So I guess the key bullet point there, INEOS delegated responsibility for management of football operations. We can actually get some quotes up on the screen right now as well from Manchester United, saying Manchester United PLC announces today that it has entered into an agreement under which chairman of INEOS, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, will acquire 25% of Manchester United's Class B shares and up to 25% of Manchester United's Class A shares and provide an additional $300 million intended to enable future investment into Old Trafford. As part of the transaction, INEOS has accepted a request by the board to be delegated responsibility for the management of the club's football operations. This will include all aspects of the men's and women's football operations and academies, alongside 2 seats on the Manchester United PLC board and the Manchester United Football Club boards. It's expected, by the way, that those 2 seats are going to go to Sir Dave Brailsford and Jean-Claude Blanc. Of course, people many are assuming is going to be the new CEO of Manchester United. It concludes by saying the joint ambition is to create a world-class football operation, building on the club's many existing strengths, including the successful off-pitch performance that it continues to enjoy. Not on the pitch, off the pitch performance that it enjoys at the moment. We've got some quotes as well from the Glazers, from Avram and Joel Glazer. They have said, "We are delighted to have agreed this deal with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS as part of the strategic review we announced in November 2022. We committed to look at a variety of alternatives to help enhance Manchester United with a focus on delivering success for our men's, women's, and academy teams." Sir Jim and INEOS bring a wealth of commercial experience as well as significant financial commitments into the club. And through INEOS Sport, Manchester United will have access to seasoned, high-performance professionals, experience in creating and leading elite teams from both inside and outside the game. Manchester United has talented people right across the club, and our desire is to always improve at every level to help bring our great fans more success in the future. We've also got quotes from Sir Jim Ratcliffe himself saying, quote, "As a local boy and a lifelong supporter of the club, I am very pleased that we have been able to agree a deal with the Manchester United board that delegates us management responsibility of the football operations of the club. Whilst the commercial success of the club has ensured there have always been available funds to win trophies at the highest level, this potential has not been fully unlocked in recent times. We will bring the global knowledge, expertise, and talent from the wider INEOS Sport Group to help drive further improvement at the club, while also providing funds intended to enable future investment into Old Trafford." Finally, Ratcliffe has said, "We are here for the long term and recognise that a lot of challenges and hard work lie ahead, which we will approach with rigour, professionalism and passion. We are committed to working with everyone at the club, the board, staff, players and fans to help drive the club forward. Our shared ambition is clear. We all want to see Manchester United back where we belong, at the very top of English, European and world football." Now, there are some other details involved in all of this, Flex, talking about the most important thing, I guess, is the roadmap to a full takeover. There is, but kind of not. Ben Jacobs has said that there is no guaranteed Glazer exit as part of this INEOS deal. There will be options for an increased stake, with Ratcliffe stating when the process began he wanted a, quote, majority entirely. Now, Mike Keegan has kind of opened up on this a little bit as well, kind of explained that you can't really do that anyway. He has said, quote, you can't do that, guarantee a full buyout in the contract officially, given stock market rules, but it would be right to view this as a first step, in his opinion anyway. What's also key involved in all of this as well is that now, with this announcement today, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is the largest individual shareholder. Of course, the Glazer family are still the majority shareholders, but the largest individual shareholder is Sir Jim Ratcliffe of INEOS as well. What are your thoughts on all of it, Flex?
Sorry, just quickly, it's also the 25% of the Class A, the voting rights as well. That's gone to him
as well.
Which is why when we're like, how does someone get the 25% of a business but make all the decisions? He's also bought them shares, hasn't he? That give him the voting power.
Yes, right. Also as well. Yeah. So it's, again, they've got the 25% of the Class B shares held by the Glazer family, which are the most influential ones, and also an offer to acquire up to 25% of the Class A shares as well. That's the inclusion of both the Glazers shares and also the minority shareholder shares, which was a hold up, which David Haley had pointed out previously as well. But yes, there's a lot of still different moving parts. There's still a lot of questions, I think, to be asked for. What's your reaction to all of it?
Yeah, well, actually, as I was sort of getting prepared to come in, obviously, I can't do this. Isn't David Ornstein was saying, you know, that Dave Brailsford and Jean-Claude Blanc in there as well, that it's all part of it. So, like you said, this is such a moving story. So, the beauty of these is that it is initial reaction. You don't understand everything yet. We've literally got the news, what was it, 15, 20 minutes ago. So, and we've gone live. So it's like you're still working through everything because you want to get that raw reaction and go through it. I mean, for me, I just feel like we have to be really patient in this bit, I think, and cautious as well, because look, we want this change. I'll speak for me. I embrace the change. I'm already over that it's not Qatar. I've left that a long time ago. You know, that had to become something that we knew from, when was that? October, when that news broke that it wasn't going to be them. So that's what it is. So I'm not in my bag of like, oh, this should have been Qatar. You know, all the debts would have been gone by now. And I've gone through that already. I welcome the change. I think that although I didn't want Sir Jim Ratcliffe to have the club, and I wanted the Qataris to have it, I welcome the change. I will be patient, but I'm very, very cautious. I'm very, very cautious about this, very skeptical about this, because this is really significant what's happening. And what we can't do, I know that it's there in fact, in factual black and white of what's happened in the exchanging of the baton and 25% this and sporting, you know, decisions being made by INEOS. It's all there, but you still can't take it for face value that there's not a scheming plan by the Glazers here, and you know, an appeasal to make it look, to fool the fans into thinking, see, we are changing everything, it's fine, rest assured, you're going to be okay now, it's been passed on to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And also, there's no guarantee that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's going to get this thing right. But what I won't do, which I kind of decided, I am going to be fairly open-minded at the same time as being cautious. I am going to embrace the changes, as long as, I mean, there were a couple of lines in there which, again, we have to take with a pinch of salt, and some lines, but where they're stating, I can't remember, you've got it there, the bit about INEOS wanting the top professionals in the jobs, something about the people being in the right places. What was that bit?
Well, also, I guess is significant is also they say that, you know, when it comes to economic and commercial success, they're not disputing that, but they say the club hasn't reached its full potential, which is stronger than I thought they would actually go, you know.
Yeah, because that's them basically dissing the previous ownership, which is, that's good. Because then you're saying, you know, Man United, you know, they want to get us back to where we should be, which is at the top of European and I think world football, I think it was, or English football and European football, something like that. So look, I embrace the changes. For me, I want to see less words and see the action. I want to see these people get given the positions. I want to see the people who need to leave. They didn't mention anything about the manager or anything like that. I don't think it's that time to do anything like that. And I don't think Eric's, like I said, like I thought for a while that they were just going to come in and get rid of him. You know, that they definitely haven't said anything to do with that. We know about the 300 million dollars or whatever it is, 250 million pounds, whatever. That's gonna not skim the sides, but they're trying to do that. So look, it's not perfect. It's not, oh my gosh, look, they've announced it. Our debt is now gone. We're free of debt. You know, we can start again. There's 1 billion investment already there. It's not what we thought, but we have to be cautiously optimistic, I would say. That's where I'm at. I'm optimistic that at least there's real change going to happen, but I still want to see it happen. I want to see the new director of football come in. I want to see the sporting director come in. I want these roles to be appointed. And then on top of that, once they're in, we can't do it in January. What does the summer look like? How can I see changes in how we're operating? What sort of players are leaving? Like, is there a tangible check? Can we see it instantly? You know, versus we have to be patient and let this unfold as well. So, because these people need time to work. So, I'm cautiously optimistic. But whilst the Glazers are still there and they're putting their statement of we're delighted to have INEOS, yeah, I don't give a shit what you lot think, because at the end of the day, there was a world record bid there to completely rid yourself of the club. You would have been laughing all the way to the bank and you didn't take it. This keeps you in post a little bit longer so you can keep extracting money from our football club whilst passing the buck on to someone else. The Glazers will frame this as, see, we've listened to you. We're letting other people do it. We've realised our mistakes. Fuck all that. Excuse my French on a Christmas Eve at 4:30. Forget all of that.
But
like
you're in your car.
we're not. That's yeah, exactly. I'm not exactly the most professional right now, as you can see. But I'm not. I'm not on that. I'm not on listening to any bullshit that they want to spin or put. I don't care. I'm focusing on to Jim Ratcliffe and what these changes look like and how quickly and how effective he can make these changes. And at the same time, I don't want us to just rush everything as well. I do want us to take our time. I do want us to be calm, because we have to do this right. This is so significant what's happened today. Like, we knew it was going to happen, but now it's actually official. In Man United's recent history, sort of, Glazer's been here, what, 17, 18 years now? Going on 20 years?
Yeah,
like,
close to 20.
This is the biggest thing that's happened since that, you know?
Yeah.
So I want us to get this right. And if that means hanging on a little bit, waiting longer, getting the right people, again, the pain on the pitch is already there. Yeah, we can easily lose against bloody Aston Villa, get pumped. Then when Tottenham come, we can. I've actually, do you know what? I'm deep in it more when I'm talking about this. I'm over that bit. I'm over that bit. Look, you just saw Chelsea lose again. Like, there's always someone worse. Like, it is what it is. We're gonna have an average season. We've got some average play. All the stuff I said in my reflection earlier, that still stands. And when it gets to match day within them 90 minutes, yeah, I'm gonna have a moan and I'm gonna dissect X, Y, Z. But actually, I am pleased that the bigger picture has begun, and now it has begun. I'm willing to take a step back. I know it's going to be bullshit on the pitch, but we need to get to the summer. January's a write-off. Forget January. We know that. We need to get to the summer. We need to see if these guys can get imposed from now to January, from now to summer. Start offloading, see how they rip it up. Let's see what the real rebuild looks like. If they keep players on stupid contracts and can't sell them, or don't rip contracts up, or buy more shit, put more people, then I'm going to say, well, this is just the same. What the fuck's this? Then we can moan. But right now, I just think it's important to be calm. Have your opinion. Have your caution. Have your skepticism. I'm not saying everyone be happy and everything's fixed now, but I do think we should be patient and we should be calm and give it time.
Yeah, and just a couple of other things as well, just a bit more sort of structural details. James Ducker from The Telegraph is saying his understanding is that Ratcliffe's co-owners at INEOS, John Rees, who's the chief financial officer, and Andy Curry will join Manchester United PLC board. And so Dave Brailsford and Jean-Claude Blanc, INEOS's sports director of sports and CEO respectively, will join the football board. So just a bit of an understanding, there's kind of like two boards.
What, is Jean-Claude Blanc at INEOS already then?
Yeah, he's like their director of sport.
Is Jean-Claude Blanc at INEOS already?
Yeah. So he's going to be literally going for.
Oh, right.
Because someone said to me the other day, it was a
Mm.
comment that someone said. They said, "Oh, if he's so good, why is he not at a job?" And you go, "He's actually in a role at the moment. He's at INEOS. That's why the transition's very smooth."
And they're second in Ligue 1 still, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, just another thing, when it comes to future sales and what have you, James Ducker is also saying that Ratcliffe will get first refusal should the Glazers wish to sell any further Manchester United stock in the future, although there's no clause in the deal that would necessitate the Americans selling their remaining shareholding to the INEOS founder at a specified date in the future. So there isn't really that direct roadmap that we were looking for, which is for me, that was like my biggest thing. That's still concerning for me because I said that, you know, if there was light at the end of the tunnel, we could hold on to that going by 2020, by 2030 or by 20, whatever date it was, you could go, we can hold on to that. There isn't that date. There is, I guess, hope, you know, in terms of like in the future, maybe, but you know, the Glazers, it would appear, certainly aren't going anywhere anytime soon. And like you said, that's the part of you when you have to go like, you can't be blindly just completely optimistic in the sense of we've won.
No.
Because in that aspect, we haven't. But on the other side of it, you can say, look, 18 months ago, if you'd have got given this option of, look, someone's going to come in, they're going to buy a chunk from the Glazers, and they're going to be in complete control of the football operations, that's a start. That's what it is. It's a start, certainly.
We've been forced to take that bit.
Yeah.
We've been forced to take that bit, haven't we? Because if, you know, if the Glazers... Am I in the way here? It's a bus that wants to get through. Oh, there you go. Big off bus. Where was I? Yeah. If this was like, there was no sport. Imagine this was just Sir Jim Ratcliffe acquires 25% of Man United, but there was no sort of shift of like he was going to work equally alongside the Glazers to try and sort Man United out. You're like, I don't like the sound of that. And also, what we have to remember is as well, and I know Sir Jim Ratcliffe's given it as a boyhood fan, local lad, etc., etc. He's a businessman and a very successful businessman at that. This has to make financial sense for him. Yes, of course, it's nice for us to have the fairy tale of hopefully we can get an owner or someone of significance at the football club who actually cares, supports us, wants to see the best, etc., etc. And for me, I've realized a long time ago, I've got no problem with people who want to make money from owning football clubs. If you're a businessman, that's why you buy a football club or businesswoman or a conglomerate of people. That's what it is. Like we're not dumb. We're not naive. Sorry, to not think that, right? But like I said, it comes in different shapes and sizes as to, you know, the wealth versus what you want to make out of it versus the good of the football club. And Roman Abramovich, again, I know there's certain things that's gone on why he doesn't own Chelsea anymore, but he was a perfect example of if you are stinking rich, but you have the right intentions, it's fine. Like he, you know, even if he wanted to make Chelsea how they were so that when he's around his billionaire mates on the yachts, he can just boast and say, "Did you see the other trophy I won? Done it again." Like, even if he was ego driven, he made sure that Chelsea kept changing all the time so that they would win. Wherever it took, he'd pump the money in. He didn't load debt against them. And in his reign, they were very successful. Arguably the most success in that period, even over Man City in that sort of period, right? So I don't mind. My thing isn't like, if you're a businessman, you want to make money out of the club, then you're a disgrace. And because we can't expect people to buy these part ways of billions of pounds and just give it. Like, that's just not how business works. But we need somebody to show some care. We need somebody to show strategy, even if that strategy is so that Man United could be the best version that it can be of itself and successful on and off the pitch. Therefore, its value goes up. Therefore, you get more profit. Good. Then you're entitled to it. You're the person who's put in X amount of billion, not me. Obviously, I'm a fan and I love the club and I'll be here long after you and all that stuff that we say. And it's true. But essentially, these guys can earn their rewards. If Man United are successful and winning things and competing at the top, you know, no one's going to care if Sir Jim Ratcliffe makes a profit of X, Y, Z, because he's done what he's supposed to do. Our squad looks how it's supposed to look. We spent the right money, but it's about the care and the etiquette around it and the sort of due diligence to get the right people in the right place. And that has to start from caring. Because because otherwise you get what the Glazers got, which is if it's only about money and extracting money, United can give you that because it's that big of an institution. Even though it's rotten, it can still make you financially good. Even though the Glazers went, actually, we need further investment because we can't take this any further. We'll have to put money into our own pockets. So even Man United was failing. So I am cautious about that. But yeah, I'm going to give it time.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is, isn't it? It's literally contrasting opinions. It's crazy. It's like conflicting and mixed emotions.
What's the chat saying?
Isn't it? The chat's saying, "Oh, you've just radically gone out of sync very quickly." I'm not sure what's happened there, by the way, as well. But
shall I refresh?
Possibly, yes.
Yeah, because I was thinking it's taking a little while for him to actually hear me. It's like that delay. Let me refresh.
So yeah, Flex is going to refresh. And whilst that happens, look at this. Oh, look at that. Tremendous. Red Baron with a super chat says, can you let me know if there's a plan to eventually remove the Glazers? If not, then this is a waste of everyone's time and care. Well, we spoke about that. Kristen's been a member for 18 months. Appreciate the support. Kristen says, just want to wish the whole UV a Merry Christmas. Big up, everyone. Fingers crossed INEOS sort this mess out. Red Baron says, this is an investment for the Glazers to stay. And Amanor says, this is the Glazers' boyfriend who agreed to pay the rent. Wow. So I guess that kind of answers Flex's question in terms of all that as well. Flex, you're back. You're muted though, which is strange. I can't hear you. No. Flechnology. But no, I'm surprised we made it this far. Honestly, I'm surprised we are.
Right now, I'm just doing it off the phone.
There you go.
iPhone camera.
There you go. I can hear you once
iPhone
again.
audio.
Yes, we can hear you once again.
CarPlay.
Yeah, that's better. That's much better. But what is people
darker,
yeah, Flex is.
Bloody hell, wait. We're gonna have to go close to this light. We're gonna have to.
You look like Blair Witch Project. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Glazers are coming.
I know. Derek Agora.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just saying it's mixed emotions, isn't it? Because it's happy that things are resolved in an essence, like the strategic review is done. We can move forward. We're not stuck and frozen. Skeptical in the sense of, but what does this all mean? Where does this lead to? Angry in the sense of we thought maybe the Glazers were going to leave and they're not, and there's no real like roadmap to them leaving. And again, just sad as to where the club are at also as well, realistically. So it's a real variety of the situations. Flex, you're rapidly losing light, so I feel like this is maybe the time to give your closing statements.
I'm on my way. I've reached my point, mate. I've reached my point. I tried. I gave you guys as much as I could.
Yeah.
The only way I can get more light is to go closer to the thing in the car like that, which is ridiculous. That changed so quickly, didn't it? It's mad.
It did. It did. But do you have a closing Christmas message for the UV community, Fleck?
Yes. Merry Christmas to everybody for tomorrow. Enjoy it. Like I said at the end of my reflection video earlier today, don't let Man United, take your eye off the ball from your family and things that are important to you. And big up to everybody who obviously doesn't celebrate Christmas as well. Whatever you may be doing tomorrow, if you're just using the time off to just be with family or just chill, do it. Don't let Man United consume you and have that full day off. Tomorrow we have got the preview with Gabby Agbonlahor going up. Owen, was that everything okay with that?
Yes.
In the end?
Yes.
Good.
It was,
good. We had a few Flecknology issues. Actually, no, it was Gabnology. It was Gabnology, actually. It wasn't actually me this time. It was Gabnology. But actually, you know what? I really enjoyed having a sit down with him because he is a troll and he does say a lot of shit. But like we get on behind the scenes, and actually I managed to bring that out of him. So you'll see a lot of maybe a different side to him, so that when he is on the radio talking his shit, you can sort of see why he does it. But yeah, I'll leave you guys with that. Enjoy. INEOS, this is the start of a new era. This is it, isn't it? This is what we wanted. So let's see. Get me January signings. If I don't get Ottoman by January 31st, right? Jim Ratcliffe out. Yeah.
Oh, well, it's already started. Big up, Flex. Appreciate it. All right, there you go. Flex calling in from the calming Christmas Eve settings. You don't get like that. And also as well, look at the smooth transition here at United View. Wow. Elijah with the super chat says, Merry Christmas to UV. Flex looking like the Riddler from The Dark Knight. Big up, everyone. Yeah, it was kind of moving a bit crazy. I thought it was the Joker with those close camera ones, but big up Fleck. That's what we do. You know what I mean? It regardless of where we are, and sometimes we get these questions quite a bit going, a pre-record today or a premiere today. Sometimes schedules, circumstances can mean that it's difficult to get stuff out, but we always do our best to provide you with the content. That's what we always try and do. So I appreciate everyone that's tuning in and supporting. And hope you have a good holidays indeed. How many likes are we currently on at the moment? We've got nearly 1,000 people watching, only 154 likes. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe too. Actually, we're pretty close. We're 30 subscribers away as well. 30 subscribers away from 159,000. There you go. Not bad. Not bad. Is it possible for a Christmas miracle? You never know. So for those asking as well, if there's a full view tonight, there is not. Again, Christmas Eve settings, people, family. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? A couple of other things I do want to just say, because obviously this is something that is a developing story and breaking whilst we are live. So I just see there that INEOS have posted the same statement that Manchester United have as well. Once again, Rob Dawson saying there's no formal path for Ratcliffe to become majority owner of Manchester United, but will get first refusal if the Glazers decide to sell more shares. 2 INEOS seats on the football board likely to go to Sir Dave Brailsford and Jean-Claude Blanc. I did just see something about sort of the football for future from... this is quite interesting here. I'm just sort of seeing this. Trawlers comes from Mike Keegan. Trawlers Limited, a Sir Jim Ratcliffe-owned firm incorporated on the Isle of Man, is to fully fund the transaction, and it involves no debt. They were advised by Slaughter and May, Paul Weiss, Rifkind, Wharton and Garrison, LLP, Goldman Sachs International and JP Morgan. It's quite a list, certainly, but they're saying that it involves no debt to fully fund the transaction, which of course is the £1.5 billion as well. Yes, which and what's quite interesting as well is Laurie Whitwell is reporting that this company, Trawlers Limited, is a reference to the famous quote from Eric Cantona, of course, after the Kung Fu kick, talking about the trawlers and feeding the seagulls, etc. And it's a nod to that, who was his favourite player as well. So a little bit of information. That's not to say you don't get educated when you tune into United View or anything like that. Fabrizio Romano has also tweeted that INEOS will start working soon on the new board structure with Jean-Claude Blanc and Sir Dave Brailsford joining the club as expected. More to follow with the new directors, new transfer strategy. There's going to be a different plan for 2024. It will take some time, but changes are expected. So, I mean, let me know in the chat how you're feeling as well about this. I mean, I kind of went over it there with Flex as well. Oh, wait a minute. Mike Keegan's also saying, in addition and potentially key, belief there is an agreement within Manchester United deal that if the Glazers want to sell their remaining shares, then they have to offer them to Sir Jim Ratcliffe first. That's been reiterated by a lot of different people now. Mike Keegan just saying that too. How am I feeling? Well, as I mentioned to Flex, I've got very mixed emotions. I am positive in the aspect of it's change, and change is beyond needed. I mean, it goes without saying how much change is needed at Manchester United. I spoke about it this morning extensively, saying everything, needs to change in terms of the CEO, sporting, on the football side of things, from the sporting directors, footballing directors, the players. And I think, like I said before, when it comes to Ten Hag, I think Ten Hag will get swept up in that, honestly. I do as well. I think there'll be sweeping changes. So I'm optimistic in the sense of we can and should be doing so much better when it comes to people in those positions. And I am positive from the stuff that you've heard thus far, Jean-Claude Blanc, Dan Ashworth, Paul Mitchell, those names being linked to those positions, that's a positive. I'm optimistically looking at it in the sense of, as I mentioned, if 18 months ago, if we were offered this, of course we would have taken it. So it's always important to maintain perspective. Mixed emotions, and look, I'm happy that this process is over. I'm happy that the process is done. I'm happy that we can move on from this review of strategic alternatives. I'm happy that the club has somewhat of a long-term plan, and there are people within the club that have a desire to win. So I'm happy when it comes to that. But of course, I'm skeptical. I've always been skeptical. I'm skeptical because I don't trust, and I don't think anyone should trust the Glazers, because they are untrustworthy. They only think about themselves and their own interest. They have zero care for winning or being successful or anything like that. So I'm still skeptical. I'm skeptical as to how this is all going to work in actually in action, which I mentioned previously too. That I mentioned that. When it comes to the footballing side of things, and they mentioned like a football committee and all that kind of stuff, I still questioned how is that going to work? In that first instance when, INEOS overruled Joel Glazer and Avram Glazer when it comes to a footballing decision, what happens then? You know, what happens? How do they react to that? They've got very thin skin and they've got very thin egos. So I'm worried about the politics at play. And ultimately, what I hoped for and what I said was the key thing was this roadmap to a full buyout. Now, it clearly is not as concrete as I would have hoped, and I would have liked. I'd hoped that we would have had a date, or I'd hoped that we'd have had, you know, a firm direction. It doesn't appear that it's firm or anything like that. It's more of a case of, well, if the Glazers decide that they want to sell more, or they decide they want to get out, it's going to go to Jim Ratcliffe. But there's no obligation. There's no mandated negotiating periods. That's a big red flag. That's really concerning. But there were some people that even went into this whole process. Before we even started the strategic review of alternatives, there was always this feeling of, well, they're never going to sell because there's no need for them to sell, because they make too much money. They get their dividends. They don't care. So I guess by some it can be viewed as a first step. That's why I say it's mixed emotions. It's really mixed emotions involved in all of it. And there are still massive things to worry about when it comes to just the overall debt leveraged against the club. There are still massive questions when it comes to, you know, our financial fair play and how we operate when it comes to that. I mean, they've committed, I think it said, was it $200 million to Old Trafford now, and then another $100 million at the end of 2024. When it comes just to the stadium, I mean, that's barely enough to help, you know, renovate one of the stands. So there are still a huge amounts of questions. There is still a huge amount of skepticism, but it is a start. It is hope, and it is better than nothing. I know that's where we're at the moment. And look, it's strange too, having the 25% and having control over footballing operations. But that's a start, because Glazers clearly don't know what they're doing when it comes from that as well. So it is mixed emotions. I think that is the best way to describe it. It's completely mixed, still slightly conflicted about a lot of it as well. And it is going to be a case of having to wait and see. Now, when it comes to the immediate future, i.e. the game against Villa and the January transfer window, we're not going to get, nothing's going to change in that aspect. Nothing's going to change. I still think we'll get a couple of loan signings, and that's about it. The summer's going to be really interesting. I hope that, to be honest, I think the biggest signings of the January window, once this thing gets ratified, and a bit more of an update, by the way, when it comes to how long it's going to take for this to be ratified too. According to Mike Keegan, the wait for Premier League approval for Sir Jim Ratcliffe's 25% investment into Manchester United may not take as long as previously expected. He's now been told there's hope of 4 to 6 weeks instead of 6 to 8 weeks. So it could be looking at a situation. It was like they were saying initially 8 weeks. It might have been sort of the end of February. They're now saying maybe end of January, beginning of February. So the biggest signings for the rest of the year are really going to be these executives. Are going to be Jean-Claude Blanc becoming the CEO. It's going to be whoever the sporting directors, and I think that's a plural. I don't think it'll be just one. Sporting directors will be. Then there will be a decision, I think, that is made about the manager, and I think the way things are going, I think they'll probably lean towards just ripping everything down and starting up again. And then we get into the territory of getting rid of quite a lot of these players and having a strategy. As I've said time and time again, Manchester United lacks direction. They lack any semblance of a plan. They lack any semblance of a strategy. That's why I said this morning, when it comes to Erik ten Hag, for people calling for his head now, there's no point to that. What's the smart thing to do is for INEOS, first of all, the people that are currently in charge don't even have the authority to do it. But secondly, the people, when INEOS, they put them in, you've got to put the CEO in, put the sporting directors in there first, and then think, right, what do we want to do? Where do we want to go? Who's going to work most effectively and best with our sporting directors? What kind of football do we want to play? What's our 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 year plan on the pitch? And go from there. Get rid of Erik ten Hag tomorrow and then do what? Flounder like we've been doing anyway. We might as well just wait until the time is right, have a strategy, have a plan, because that's what Man United need to do. Because what we've been doing constantly over the past decade is, I used the analogy earlier on, Manchester United is a Jenga tower at the moment, and bricks have been taken out like dividends throughout the years, and it sways like this, and you go, it's going to fall over. It's going to fall over eventually. This tower's going to fall over, and then we go, I tell you what's going to fix it. let's take out the one brick of the manager and put another one back in. It's fixed. And you go, it's exactly the same. It's still swaying. What's the best thing to do? Knock that tower over and then brick by brick by brick by brick, build it back up. Now, you can argue, and I think it's a very valid and fair argument, how strong can your foundations be if they've got the Glazers involved in it? It's like building a skyscraper on the beach. Eventually, it's going to get washed away, and we are in a territory of design by committee when I mentioned it too. I just worry about whenever that first clash comes. Whenever that first clash comes between INEOS and the Glazers, what happens then? Whenever one has to, stamp their authority on things and go, no, we're going to do this. Well, I disagree. We should do this. What happens then? And the idea that doesn't happen happens all the time. It happens all the time. Conflict within football teams and within football clubs and organisations. I mean, just look how Malcolm Glazer purchased Manchester United in the first place. So we need to say Rock of Gibraltar. That's part of it as well. So it's a positive in the aspect of getting the right people in sporting roles, and I'm optimistic on that front, and I hope that they get it right. There's also no guarantee they will as well. That's part of it, but I'm happy that there are people within the club that have a desire to win as opposed to a desire to make money. I think that's a positive, but there are still a lot of red flags. There are still a lot of questions. It's one thing saying things as well in principle. It's another thing to see it. It's got to be done, and there's going to be a lot of people watching and a lot of people going, right, what's your actions? Actions speak louder than words. And with Man United, so many words have been said for the long time as well. So we'll have to wait and see, certainly. Where are we at with Super Chats as well? Where are we at with the likes at the moment too? We've got nearly 1,000 people watching, by the way, guys. Less than 300 likes. If you haven't already, click the like button and be sure to subscribe to 28 subscribers away from 159,000 as well. Red Baron says, Owen, this is all your fault. Yeah. Nice. Where are we at as well? What else are people saying? S. Madison says joint ownerships will always fail. What else have we got? Liam says, I go everywhere with my work and INEOS is probably the best run company I go to. I was there on Friday and everyone said they'll rip up everything and make everything better. So Liam saying from their own personal experiences, INEOS will rip everything up, make stuff better. Cafe Con Leche says, Ratcliffe will not solve our money issues. He's just another guy to make money off of our club. Well, what I will say with that is a big assumption, isn't it? That is an assumption in terms of, he's just in to make money. I mean, look, when you invest into any organization or any business, of course you're there to make money. That's what you do as well. Of course you invest it in to make money. But we have said when it comes to this whole process, Manchester United don't need a sugar daddy. We never have. Manchester United, I was explaining this to a friend of mine earlier on who's a Liverpool fan. I know, I'm shocked I'm friends with them as well. But I was explaining that Manchester United don't need a sugar daddy. That was the whole point that was put out there when it came to with Qatar and with these other bidders, is that Manchester United just needs someone that's willing to put some money into the club. And we make so much money despite owners that have only taken money out of the club and haven't put actually a penny of their own money in, really ever, but certainly officially. I think it's since 2011, something like that. And we've still been able to spend 250 million quid every single summer. So it's the money, the huge wealth isn't that much of a problem. It's not. Manchester United makes a lot of money. We're just very wasteful. We spend a shit ton of money. Got the highest wage, the wage budget in the Premier League. We've spent a ton of money. People like to talk about how much money Eric Ten Hag has spent. Was it 350, 400 million pounds? And that's without that's under FFP scrutiny. That's with owners not putting the money in. So just putting the money in, that will help Manchester United. So I don't know with that aspect. And also as well, making Manchester United or solving Manchester United's cash problems will also stem from being wiser with how we spend it too, right? We spend money so badly And the way we operate, and that's why I was talking earlier on about Ten Hag. That's why these people at an executive level are so important. That's what it is, you know. Cafe Con Leche says, respectfully, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. We're sitting on $1 billion of debt and a stadium infrastructure falling apart at the seams. Then we get to the football product. Well, this is, look, and I'm not saying you should, so you're saying, oh, you should blindly trust Sir Jim Ratcliffe. No, and I understand the skepticism. I myself have said I'm very skeptical about a lot of this stuff, and that's not going to change. But when you're saying about, you know, the stadium infrastructure falling apart, they have committed money to doing the stadium. Now, I've said a million times, it's not enough. You know, to fix Manchester United Stadium completely, it's going to take about £1 billion. They've committed, I think, $300 million. They can do a stand. They've said the long-term aim is to expand the stadium to 90,000. So if you're going to push to him to that and say, oh, the stadium infrastructure is falling apart, they have said something about that. The debt, I totally agree with that, and I don't know how they fix that, and I still think there are massive questions in terms of, well, they've committed money to Old Trafford, but what about that debt? How are they going to finance that? How are they going to service that debt? Should they even do that if they're a 25% owner? But he is the largest single owner as well. And when it comes to the football product, as you point out there, well, that's kind of the reason these other people are coming in. That's why they're getting a new CEO. That's why they're getting new sporting directors. That's why, that's why they're possibly going to change the manager as well. So, you know, that's... I get that, but we have to also be fair with the criticism too. We can't be like, well, what are they going to do when it comes to the stadium? Well, they have also said that. What are they going to do with the football product? Well, it's very obvious the people they're going to be bringing in, certainly as well. I'm very skeptical about how it's going to work. I don't know how in principle a lot of these aspects are going to knit together, and Manchester United fans are right to be skeptical. Look at what we've been dealt with for under the Glazer ownership. But I do see people just sort of go, well, it's never going to work straight away. And you go, well, we don't know that. We don't. Red Baron says, any good news in the land of United? Newcastle lost. Well, Chelsea lost today as well. But their project's way ahead of Manchester United's as well, right? The project's well ahead. I Am Kang says, what are the actual documents or articles about what he's going to do? Because I don't see any. I mean, if you are Kang, then maybe you are back in time, because, I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, literally everywhere. It's on the Manchester United website where they're literally talking about about the board of directors and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's kind of everywhere. I don't really get that one as well. I also got a comment as well. Someone said to me earlier on in the comments, and I find this fascinating, and I'm off on a tangent here, but, you know, someone said that, oh, you've got a similar opinion to another fan channel. I think it was United Stand, saying, you've got a similar opinion to them on Ten Hag. Why are you copying their opinion? Why are you, it was like, be original and say how it is. And I thought that was very, very odd logic, because I don't, so if you've got the same opinion as someone else, and I'm going to be totally transparent with you guys, I don't have the time to watch other people's content. I genuinely don't. I barely have enough time to watch our own. But if I've got a similar opinion to someone else, that's not meaning you're going to copy someone. I mean, imagine I go to you, I tell you what, I really like the new Batman film. So do I. Why are you copying what I'm saying? Damn you! You can't do what? You like it too? Get out of here! Yeah, what? Yeah, you can't have the same opinion as me. Imagine you go, I'm Erik Ten Hag out. So am I. Stop copying me. How dare you? How dare you copy that? I tell you what I love. I love Christmas dinner. So do I. Copying me again. Stop copying me with that. What's your favourite part of the Christmas dinner? I love turkey. Like, it's life. People are going to have different opinions. People are going to have the same opinions. And, you know, and if a popular opinion, which does seem right now, is to be like, okay, Erik Ten Hag might not be the guy, but I tell you what, those players, those executives, they need to sort themselves out. Stop copying me. Stop copying me. And then to say you need to be more original, and basically you need to say my opinion, That would mean not being original, and I'd be copying you. Have the same opinion as me, even if you don't believe me, if you don't have the same opinion. Why would I copy you? That, as Chris Katsu said, you got lucky, Owen. I prefer roast potatoes. I thought you were copying me there. I mean, heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. It is nuts. It is nuts. If you're watching, other people's content, if you're watching Manchester United content, I feel like the subject matter might, overlap a little bit, and people might have similar opinions. So there you go. But yes, so if you are just joining us again, it has been confirmed. INEOS has acquired 25% of Manchester United. The press release has been put out there as well. And we wait. Now we wait. As Flex said, a bit of a reminder when it comes to tomorrow, there's going to be a preview for the game at Old Trafford, Boxing Day, Manchester United versus Aston Villa. It's going to be Flex talking to Gabby Agbonlahor, who, you're talking about trolling. There's one in real life as well, certainly. Yeah, that's kind of nuts. Let's get to these super chats here. The Manchester says, Owen, you know what time it is? The time is now. I mean, I'm talking about people not to trust. The Manchester, I mean, you want to talk about strange opinions and strange logics. The guy came on here and equated a Manchester United loss to Kim Kardashian. Yeah. He's a strange guy, the Manchester. He moves in very mysterious ways. I wouldn't have many other way, though, as well. Wouldn't have many other way. But Manchester is an odd one. Anyway, guys, look, it's Christmas Eve, so I'm going to leave you to your Christmas festivities. As Flex said, to all that celebrate, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. I'll be back on Boxing Day for a match view. Another match view with KG. The KO match views are back, certainly. That was a lot of fun yesterday. And yes, and even if you don't celebrate, have a good Sunday. Have a good week. Relax. Don't let football and Manchester United certainly get you down too much. And I'll speak to you again very soon. I'm out of here. Peace.